Hello. So I don't know if you're talking to me or not. I can't hear you. I can't.
Testing, testing, testing. You hear me now?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know what I did or what I need to do. I reseated it, and ever since I got a brand new computer, same computer I've used the Alienware Dell Alienware. And for whatever reason, this one is giving me a heck of a time with only one issue with my headsets and running Zoom and some of the recording. I do OBS for some of that content that I've been doing for the course, but in any case, you can hear me. So good. And I'm glad that you're here, at least somebody, to validate this, because I hate doing recordings and then the audio doesn't happen. Then that's kind of turning the tree that fell in the woods that no one heard. But well, you're the only man. I'd say you're the last man standing. We're the only man standing. So and I realize that uh, class, however, in the case of this course, I'm trying to make myself available again, just to um, make sure that everyone's on the right track with everything. So, and I got this recorded for anyone who can't make it. So the test's on Thursday, and what I want to use this session for, number one, if you got any questions. So I'm not really going to do a formal lecture. I just want to talk about the exam and the class in general, bring up the syllabus in a second. But do you have any questions in particular, or
I do have one question on assignment 3. Are we allowed to resubmit it? I already submitted it. I know it's not due until like tonight. Are we allowed to?
yeah,
Is it like unlimited attempts
yeah,
on it? Okay.
sure.
Because I
I
just
mean, if you,
watched the recording from last week, and
mhm.
you said don't use my example, and I used your example, and I was like, oh my bad. So I'm
Oh,
quickly
okay,
redoing it so that the data is not yours.
no problems, no problems. Yeah, yeah, and I chased that with some of the clarifications, I think. So yeah, don't. I'm glad that you're listening, because I know a lot of people aren't, but for whatever reason, I don't completely understand. But um, yeah, no, I'll take a resubmission. No problems. And I don't know if the Dropbox is set up for that, and if it isn't, let me know and I'll figure it out. Or worst comes worst, you could email it. But I hate if you don't have to email it, don't, because I like to make it kind of like self-contained in the course. That way, if I get hit by a truck, then someone knows that you've been submitting stuff through the course. So people submit online courses, and again, you want to kind of keep it all attached to the course, just for matter record. But yeah, no problem. I'll take that. So let me do a share. I want to Oh, gosh, no, where the heck is this? No. Oh, here it is. Okay.
I just resubmitted it. Yeah, it works perfectly fine. It's set up good.
The later I do it without making it too late, that it I have less conflicts hopefully. So go, okay, there we go. So let me pull up the syllabus here. And what I wanted to do before the exam, and I wanted to do it tonight. I want to do it Wednesday night because if someone's off target with something, then they don't really have a lot of time, right, to change your course of action. So I wanted to get this out, and that's why I did it last Thursday. I did record that for anyone who's listening, and I posted that recording. I'm going to do the same here, but so I went through some of it, but I'm kind of solidifying the exam. I didn't completely write it yet, but I've been thinking about it over the weekend, and I have a pretty firm idea. What I wanted to do is, again, I hate exams, because I want to interject as much practical nature. Actually, what I was doing is I haven't gotten to LeetCode. I don't know if you've heard of LeetCode, but that is, and I don't know how many. Some positions are doing testing of the candidates, and I've tried to keep the material as timely and provide as much utility because, and I don't know how close people are. So this is like a sophomore junior level, but um, the job market's tough. You don't believe me? Just go on the social or anywhere online and tell you what the stats are. But a designating factor, and I try to incorporate as much as this into the course to give you the most highest level of practicality, right? And from from the rigor standpoint and just the foundational, this is a foundational course. There's no doubt about it. The data structures, and I traditionally have been teaching the theory of computation, also done
Plus, I think you froze if you're there.
dropped out. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay.
Zoom dropped out for me, and have some patience. I don't know what I did a Zoom earlier today, and I don't know why it's dropping out. I don't know if it's my internet. And for this reason, again, I I've had a good time doing recorded content in the last 6 months ever since I got this computer. But that between that and my internet, but I've been doing local recording of content uh, with this an open source package as opposed. I used to do it through Zoom, but the internet dropping out. Of course, if you live in a very remote area like me, Northville, that doesn't have any technology or any development. Sarcastic, but can't expect to get the best service, right? But
I get that.
for whatever reason, I can't things I just can't get my head around. But um, so back to the topic, right? Um, I'm trying you know, some of the top tier companies look for, might throw an exam at you. So I guess in some respects, there is a value in being able to um, relate to some of these concepts from the perspective of a testing. Uh, though again, in many cases, including the functional programming course, I was trying to give people an alternative assignment to even opt out of the final exam. I'm not going to do it in this class unless I think of something really novel to pull things together. But at the very least, I want to incorporate, and I may moving forward, some of the content, let's say from a leak code perspective, just to give people a flavor. If you're not familiar with it, you should be. Again, that in combination with having a portfolio and start getting, trying to encourage in this both classes is people building a portfolio on GitHub. Strong fundamentals, a strong portfolio. Here we go again, dropped out. So hope, sorry about that. So hope you caught the end of that. So again, just trying to get some of my uh, perspective, and I'm not going to go on and on and on. Just wanted to throw a little bit out there where I see my vision moving forward with this to give everybody in the class enough, as many tools as possible to so they can be successful. Second. Sorry about that. Here's somebody else doing something with food and he wants out. He's not my friend anymore. Fair weather friend. So okay, so the exam, let's get down to brass tacks here. Again, I want to go on and on. I was planning on maybe a 30-minute thing. And I want to generate something, maybe just recorded content beforehand, but I want to, I'm not going to do everything at midnight the night before. I'm not going to give anybody time to do any more preparation than they already did. The exam's on the first 6 chapters. Okay, so
I think we lost you again, Professor.
three, kind of pretty strong idea. So it's the first 6 chapters, and primarily the first 2 programming assignments, not as much on a third. Again, I want to allow some sync time. However, content wise, again, looking at the first 6 chapters and the homework. So question in my mind when I write an exam, and again, it's not an issue. It's an issue of not having any surprises. Like I had no idea this is going to be on the exam. Okay, I don't want anyone to feel that way. Give them. It's not an issue of tricking anyone. So again, if you look at the content and you do the work, then you should do well. Okay, so that said, let me go into, and again, this week there's no discussion, right? We're on the week. We're moving right along here. We're on week week 8, and then we got thank goodness, we got spring break next week. So there you go. So I'm going to have the programming. I'll post the next assignment, and the homework is already on. Then there's no discussion this week, and week 8 is is the break, and then we're going to pick it up with 8. And yeah, and 7 through, moving forward will be on the finals. You only had 2 exams. So that's, so let me go to the what I posted, and kind of make it pass through that and kind of articulate it. And again, get out as many people, and to remind everyone, okay, so I haven't heard from a lot of people. People have been turning the work. You got to take the exam. So I don't know what else to, and I don't want anyone to surprise. Oh, I can't make Thursday. Well, if you can't, that's okay. We can reschedule it. I've rescheduled the other class too. So I don't want to reschedule it really more than once, ideally. But so hopefully I can figure out for anyone who can't. Hopefully you can make it. I hope it's a good time. So, so let me um, their task. Um, should be reflective. Again, I'm going to think about, can you write a short recursive routine? Can you write something that's going to manipulate pointers? The basics of object-oriented programming. Can you implement any of the abstract data structures in C++? Again, I want you writing tons and tons of code. Along with that, again, I ask everybody to reflect on the assignments and the content and the book. Big O, little o, okay, know the differences, okay, theta omega analysis. I may have a pointed question about the 4 of those. What, or, let's say, off the top of my head, why would you use one over another? Why one is, a key point here, right, is that the big O is really a starting point, right? It's a point of reference, but at the end of the day, it's not that important, right? I mean, there's a lot more than that. So that needs, I think that's a message I want to drive home to the whole class, okay, to the whole class. Because you can always have an upper limit on code, but the whole idea is to have a good perspective, right, as to best case, worst case analysis, the upper and lower limits. And I see this even in day-to-day news when they're talking about benchmarks. They talk benchmarks with the generative AI, large language models. Oh, the benchmarks are being beaten every week, and it's just much better than it was. Life's not a benchmark. You're gonna see that moving forward when all these LLMs have hit some kind of plateau because they keep on saying, oh, everything's exponentially improving. So this is something that beyond the core material that hopefully have a greater appreciation, and that's something that I think is important to. I mean, it's a market distinction, right? That's why we take this. That's why this class is so important, because someone just goes to a coding boot camp, or has just as he's an engineer, never really studied algorithms and kind of fell into it. There's a lot of people like that. A lot of people. I think that moving forward, people have the greater appreciation for these concepts. It's so important, okay, are going to be more successful. Okay, so that's, and why am I saying this? To relate that that's kind of the message I want to present along with all the core content, right? So understand the difference and the practicality between them and be able to articulate that. If you did the programming, you're going to be up on top of your game with some of this. I'm not going to go too deep in the weeds. And, I want to do 8 questions and maybe it may be more like 6. If I did one big question or 2 or
So I think you froze again.
sorry about that. No, so hopefully you can hear me again. So that said, kind of stepping through the topics, understand obviously here are the basics, right? Stack, list, queue, data structures, build and implement them in any number of ways, vectors, arrays, linked lists. Can you do a stack with a linked list, an array, or a vector correspondingly, or vector list with any of those? Vector operations going to be part of some question. I like prefix, infix, postfix expressions, working with them. The stacks again, another, understand the tree traversals, understand the difference between AVL binary B trees, know the core concepts of hashing, chain linear programming, quadratic, doubles hashing, rehashing. Another thing that motivates me, or I try to that I think about and consider when designing an exam is, let's say you never had a job, you're going for your first programming job or something, you put this on your resume, or a class of data structures. I know that I would ask, let's give you another story. I interviewed for a company, they gave me some kind of ridiculous exam, and it was crazy. I mean, I think they just did it just to intimidate people because it had so many shades of gray in terms of what you should answer. I don't even know how someone who completely, so many shades of gray, but it is important to know this stuff. Okay, so no priority queues, heaps, D heaps, leftist heaps, queue heaps, binary queues. So all the basic stuff through the book. So just go through, know that. So again, some coding of C++, explanation, abstract, what you've been doing all along. If, people been turning in the assignment. Here's some of the questions I pulled out of the book. These are right out of the book. At least, and well, I didn't put, I want to temper that. This is, I have the hard copy book. I actually, by mistake, I bought the international edition. I got tired of printing out the portion. I'm a physical guy. I like to, sometimes I get tired of reading the screen. I read screens for, I don't know how many hours in a day. I like to see a physical book. So these are actually out of the book I ordered, which is the actually the international edition and not what I assigned the homework on. So if you're looking at the questions, they don't look like the questions in my book. So um these are the level questions I'm interested in. And again, most cases want to pare it down a little bit. Okay, so again, if you want to get a little bit more, and I don't want to put my best questions up there yet, because if I do that, I got to rewrite them for the exam, right? Then I give me the exam. So, but I mean, this is the thought process. If you're comfortable with answering these, and these for the first 3 chapters, I didn't do them for the last, and I'll put more up there if I can. Okay, so stay tuned, the announcements. But if you're comfortable with this stuff, you look at it, oh yeah, I can answer that. Okay, then that's a good. Then you're on, and you look at the topics, and yeah, I can, I could write some code to do this, or maybe take some code. Maybe I'll give you some code, do an analysis or give an explanation, and maybe give a worst case, best case. Okay, that's another good one, right? I'm just thinking off the top of my head what will be important. Um, um, you know, what would be a scenario where one algorithm would be better than another, right? We have the operations on the priority queues and the min heaps and related operations. And if you have a structure that needs to be sorted, it may give you high level efficiency, but you got to keep it sorted, right? So in some cases, you might have a collection of data. And here again, you could have more than one right answer to some of these. So don't get hung up on, gee, what exactly is it going to be looking for? I'm looking for that you've given it some intelligent thought, right? That you have an understanding. And as long as you substantiate it, I don't see why, there's obviously more than one approach. But back to my example, and maybe I'll develop this into a test question actually. If you have, I'm going to write this one down. It's going to be a good test question. If you have an efficient representation of data, regardless of what it is, and it's sorted, you got to factor in how life's not benchmark. Domain environments are not benchmarks. And again, I would like, and I don't know how much people are saying up on industry. If you're a student, you're working, you got all the things going on. Maybe you aren't, but if you want to work, I don't know anyone who's here doesn't want to make money. You're going to be involved in industry, and I think there's a lot of, again, of trying to develop the intuition that a good computer scientist, I'm making that designation, right, between somebody I'm a computer scientist, if you haven't figured it out by now. So that's why I have staunch, and maybe there's a few engineers that trickled into the program. Usually I don't say anything until I badmouth engineer students for about 5-10 weeks. But then I'm not badmouthing them, but I'm just trying to make that distinction and value. And you should feel valuable, and you should feel, the bigger picture here is that you should have a value in all of this information. The intuition of where I'm going. tree and the domain that you're going to work in, and why these principles are not only valuable, but they're timeless. Before C++ and C++ is ancient. Okay, you should all be programming in Golang or Rust or Python. Python's getting old. I introduced Python at Ford. That was probably close to 20 years ago. So, but I go on and on and on. But that's where I'm going with this. And so anyone's listening, and you know, of course, you get a priority because you're here. Take a look at what I posted. Take a look at, again, review content. If you've been doing the work up to now, there shouldn't be a lot of work over and above. Make sure that you haven't overlooked everything. I know that the homework hasn't been that comprehensive, but as far as what I've listed, I'm not going to put some bizarre version of hashing or binary. There's
Oh, we lost you again, Professor.
in your mirror. Did I lose my volume?
I hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, this connection's not working very well. So at that, I'm gonna leave it at that. So again, if you have any questions, otherwise we'll call it evening. And again, I'll try to post
Do
more
have a few
content.
questions actually.
Go ahead.
So on the practice exam questions, the first one, 1.1, is
Yeah.
that pretty much just drawing a graph? There's no programming to that, correct? That's just a graph you got to draw, it looks like. A table, I guess. Sounds
Well,
like,
it was asking the exact question. The book was write a program, so I actually do a selection routine, and that could just be a function, right? And it's going to take a list and an integer and find the integer in the list, right? So
okay, I didn't know because when it said like draw a table, I was like, I don't know how to make an image in C++.
yeah,
I didn't know if
no,
that
no, no,
was,
no, 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 no.
oh, okay, that's not like an actual image.
Here, what these aren't my questions. Okay, I pulled this right out of the book, and I'm trying to kind of did it ad hoc, right? I'm trying to say, I, 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 I'm thinking to myself, okay, let me go to the book and see what's out of the book that's kind of directly related to the content that that would be close to what I would design for an exam question. So, and again, yeah, I'm not going to ask you to, uh, as far as C++, you should know the basics, how to implement the basic data structures in C++, work with vectors. I'm not going to go into, you know,
Yeah, then
polymorphism or any of the esoteric features of C++. So, yeah,
are
I'm
we
not.
gonna have a
Right.
drawing portion? I think it was like homework two was the binary trees. Whatever one that was the binary trees and that stuff. Are we gonna have to have like a drawing section? Like I know for homework, I drew it out to then rebalance everything. Is that gonna be like on the test where we're gonna need some paper to then upload a picture of it?
Yeah,
Or
I think what I'm going to do for the exam, kind of give you a heads up. So I'm going to ask people to handwrite the exam. So to discourage cut and pasting from, because it's too easy to. So I'm going to ask you to write it out, even if it's code, and then just take, if you can't scan it, just take a picture with your camera and, upload it. So,
okay, got it. then I guess that goes into another question. Now you just said it's handwritten. How like precise, like the code wise, because like syntax errors and like formatting and that.
I'm not gonna split hairs on syntax. Okay.
Okay,
If
because I'm like
if I
you
ask
actually
you, if
forget to capitalize a variable and then you
no, no, no,
capitalize it
no, no,
down the
no, no,
line. I'm like,
no,
oh, you
no, no,
forgot
no,
to.
no, no, no. I'm not gonna like uh
Uh, I can't hear you, Professor. You kind of froze, but I'm gonna assume you're saying that it's okay. Hopefully.
this. Sorry about this. Uh, yeah, I'm just looking for the basics. And
Oh,
again, I'm going to give you a lot more brevity on this exam since it's the first, uh, especially here that if there's any misunderstanding as to what the style is or the requirements are. But the answer is no. Um, I'm not looking for exact implementations. All I'm looking for is, you know, do you know the content? And if you know it, then you're gonna, you have it pretty good. It's not about having semicolons or, something of that nature. So
and then just one last question.
yeah.
Trying to think. I had it. Oh, is there any notes allowed, or like, can we have an old program for anything, or like, is there any resources allowed besides anything?
No, I'm not
Okay.
gonna require it. And again, I'm probably gonna give you code. So again, it shouldn't. Here's the thing, right? There's so much content out there that's related. I don't want to make it that hard where, like if I said, oh, it's like, where do you draw the line, right? With this
Yeah.
stuff, right? So I don't want to make it that hard. If I did that, open everything, uh, then you got to make it really hard. And
That's true. Yeah.
I don't want to make a hard exam. I want to make an exam that reinforces everything I just said,
Mhm. Yep.
and tests that you did the homework and you did the reading and you did the programming, you should be 80%,
I,
for the exam.
uh, and then just one personal question.
Yeah.
And that's it. I have a I don't know what the correct like form is called, but I have like accommodation form that I get time and a half on tests due to the fact that I have like terrible eyesight. So when it comes to like reading something, it takes me a while to read or stuff just because my eyes, I can take breaks. Is there a way to have the time and a half on the test, or how do I accommodate that through the test? Oh, I don't know if you can hear me, Professor. I cannot hear you. I don't know if you froze, maybe. Oh, lost connection.
Sorry, no, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I got the last question. So to solidify the answer, you have as much time as you want. So
Oh, okay.
that won't be an issue.
All right, sweet. Thank you.
And again, in this case, I'm leaning towards a little bit more questions, and it's going to be hard to squeeze them in this content. So if I see that like no one's turning the exam on any case, I may extend the time. And I'm not gonna cut everybody off because maybe I overestimated how much time it would take, right? That type of situation. So But to answer your question, yeah, no, I'll give you, it's no problem. No
Okay,
problem.
and then
And I know I'm glad you reminded me, because again, I get stuff sent out in the beginning of the term, and I get a million things sent to me,
oh,
so
no, I
not
yeah,
a problem. You got as much time as you want. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna be working a lot later than the exam's gonna run. So
and then test is just on Zoom, kind of like this, just cameras on. That's it.
yeah,
Uh,
I'll do camera on, face. I don't know how people feel about that. I personally, I don't really monitor people that much. I'm busy. I got other things to do than, so people thinks I'm, big brother. I'm not really. I I just don't want anyone to feel that they can go, and because again, it's so easy to search anywhere and get this stuff,
uh,
and I don't want anyone to feel that uh they're working hard and someone else is perhaps getting away with. So I'm trying to keep a little bit, but I did an exam today. I put the guys on and I covered up all the screens because it's distracting for the most part. I can see people are working. I just do my own thing, so I'm not really into the Big Brother thing. I was gonna arrange it, have people just go to the test center, but apparently I didn't know what, because I haven't been doing my online classes. I do online classes while their school's not here. But I was gonna have people go to the test center to administrate, but apparently they're overloaded now. So okay, fine, we'll just do it online. But I do ask people to go on face only, just like no more than what I'm doing, So um and yeah.
that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Well, nothing, uh I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So if you got a question, feel free to drop me a line. Until then, I don't know what I'm going to post next. I got some more things to do tonight outside of this class. Um, yeah, something that comes up, I'll try to post more content. Okay, so keep an eye on the announcements. If I find something that's good, or I could generate something tomorrow night, maybe, or even Wednesday, I'll post. So keep an eye on the announcements. And again, any questions about clarifications, feel free to reach out to me. I'll monitor my email a little bit more. You
Oh,
can try calling me. I don't pick up my phone in every single call because I get called every hour on. Back again. I don't know if you caught that or
oh,
not, so sorry. But
I don't know if you saw my message. I was
post 3. Oh, I didn't put it up. I'll
no,
get that up.
yeah,
I'll
there's no
get
way
that
to.
up.
Yeah, I was like looking. I was like, oh wait, there's
Sorry
no way to
about that.
post it. You're good.
Yeah. And anything comes to mind, let me know. And again, while I'm blathering on before I got the froze on me again, is that something comes up, let me know, or something that you need um clarification on. And again, I'm not really, I don't want anyone to feel intimidated about this whole, and I don't really know how to manage this in any other fashion. But for the record, I I'm really busy, so I'm running the test. I kind of get everybody started. If no one's got questions, I got my own work to work on. So but I wanted to be here in case someone needs a clarification on the exam. So So before it conks out, right, I'll end this unless you got anything else.
Nope, that's all for me.
And thanks for joining. You're the only one. And I hope that everyone else is. I don't want anyone calling me next week. Oh, when is the midterm? Or, because that's just going to be a mess. But, and I'll try to put that, I'm going to write that down in the Dropbox. So thanks for joining, Noah. Keep an eye on the announcements. And I will see you on Thursday night. And we'll go from there. Take care.
Sounds good. You too. Bye.
All right. Have a great evening. Bye now.